promised to do a video on one of my builds that I was working on, and so we are with my mage character, Merlin, and we're going to go to Camelot. Makes sense, I guess, for those of you that are fans of things as such. Anyway, so I'm going to give you an idea of how this works. When you go into the build, you can build an actual game that is playable, okay? While it doesn't offer a lot of things, it's just fun to do, let's put it that way. But you have access to almost everything. You know what? Camelot wasn't where we needed to be. I apologize for that, for all the viewers that were... Let's try this again. So, I am going to select my mage character, Merlin, of course. I forgot, Merlin's world was actually Camelot, and it was actually a playable. So we'll play Merlin, but we're going to go to the build. And it's called Wonder. That's where I messed up. Alright, anyway, so I started building on this not too long ago, and I let my imagination go wild. I'm not done yet. I'm still working on it. Granted, I need for you to understand I'm not the best architect in the world either. So that means anything that I've built or any ideas that I've put into this doesn't mean I'm professionally doing it. So, just overlook the build. If you can do a better job, I'd be more than glad to have you on my world to help me out. I do that quite often. Shoot me a message, send me a player ID or something, and we'll jump you in here. Without further ado, first thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to show you a lot right now. We're going to start one end of the place and we're going to go to the next. A friend of mine threw all these characters up on top of the world. Not sure why he did it, but it's pretty interesting. So, without further ado, we're going to start in the castle. And this is the throne room of the castle. So, it has a bell tower. Oh, and the bell tower does work, by the way. Anyway, of course it has its conference tables, etc. I did not place a roof in on this because I just felt like it would be too closed in and it would lose the characteristics of the castle itself. So, we'll continue. So playing this as if I were going to be defending this castle, this is the way the archers would actually have access to the throne room itself. But not only that, they have access to... I'm missing a step there. I'll have to remember that in a minute. Anyway, they have access to the tower. And not only do they have access to the tower, but they also have access to the inside of this tower here. They have a little place to store their stuff. They have access to the entrance to the castle side of the map. And I'll need to fix that later, but anyway. So they have access to be able to, check to see who's coming and going, etc. They have access to the entrance to the castle itself. So the tower, that's the tower. Alright, so anyway, if you come on down a little bit, we're going to open this up. And then we're going to go, this is the dungeon. Okay, so let's still in a little bit of works, but if I open this dungeon up, now nothing's moving here, so it's not playable right now. I don't have it in play mode, or these skeletons and the spiders would be attacking me, but it's got its prisoners. And I'm missing a gate here for some reason. There's supposed to be a gate here. I'll put that back eventually. So, got rats and spiders and a little bit of everything in here that you could possibly think of. And the reason the drains are in here, by the way, just so everybody knows, I did build a river system on my map, and every now and then I would make a mistake and it would flood my castle, and then of course there had to be a place for the water to go, so that does happen. I really got to put that back. I don't know who did that. I have no idea who knocked my gate down. Anyway, and then the last part of the dungeon, you know, still has more prisoners. It has skeletons, mice. There you go. So now you see how that all works. Now we're leaving the dungeon. And up in the left-hand corner there, you can see all the different types of spawns that I have in here, on this map period. So, you know, you see the fish, the skeletons, the mermaid, or the merman, and then, you know, the spiders and the jellyfish. So, they're all there. Going back up. Oh, and you can fly in the mode that I'm in right now to where you build. You can fly. That's really handy to have. Alright, so leaving the castle, you'll see that the horses, you'll see that the king has a stable here. I do have horses in there, just for looks. When I leave the castle, I'm going to come across a bridge. And the first place I come to is the blacksmith and the smelter's hut. So, some of it's for looks and some of it's actually workbenches. So that's for looks, obviously, and then it's, you know, small housing. You know, I don't, you know, there's the smelter and all that. Now, small houses, I don't really build a lot to be on this, I guess, what you would call, I mean, it's got a chimney, it's got a table, it's got a bedroom, you know, basic stuff, right? It's not very big. It doesn't have to be very big. It's here for looks. So, I mean, I guess I could have put a lot more work into it, but that's a basic house there. So, we will continue on. We're going to walk across this bridge right here. And I'm going to give you, so this is the river system that I told you I built. It goes around the castle. If I exit the castle area, there's a drawbridge. And of course there's a river there, or a moat, or whatever you want to call it. Works perfectly. Now, if we go, now some of these areas I still have plans for. They're boxed in on purpose because I still have ideas for them. This is a farm. A few farmers here. A small house, you know, for the farmers to be able to rest or whatever. I understand it has one bed and there's 3 farmers. Please, you know, give me time to fix that later. Need a bigger house, obviously, or a couple more houses to join with it. This is my stable area with a pet salesman there, but anyway, stable area for the farm, right? I'm meant to make all the areas hard for you to just fall off. I'm not really. I'm still working on some of this stuff, so this is everything still in the making. Got a nice little waterfall going into the lake, and if I go on down to the next building, believe this is the pub that I built. It was basically, well, I mean, you know, what place did you not go to that didn't have a pub? You know, when you're playing Kingdom games and things like that. So, yeah, there's the way into the bar. There's the sink to wash. You know, all that stuff, and then of course the bar's right here to serve with, and a few tables. But if you open this bookshelf, we go down to, which is not a finished, it's not finished yet, but there is going to be more added to it with graphics. But this is going to be like the little cellar, the little storage, you know, area. So there's that. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. I'm always glad to hear from somebody, you know. And if you think you want to jump in here and help build, be my guest as well. So there's the pub. Now we're not going to go that direction just yet. We're going to go back the way we came. Matter of fact, I'll make it faster. So we'll go back to the castle. Okay. And past the blacksmith. And this time, instead of taking a right on the covered bridge, we're going to take a left. And this right here is the lumberjack's house. I put a little bit more detail into it. It's of course got his kitchen area and a little seating area, and then of course when you get upstairs there's a bedroom. So it's small, quaint. You'll notice I put a little bit more detail into this one, but that's okay. So there's that. That's the lumberjack's house. So why would we need a lumberjack? Because we have a sawmill and a lumber yard. Now granted, I'm very limited with the things that I have that are operable or that, you know, look like they could be built into. So this is a sawmill type. This is what skins the bark off the trees and cuts the logs and things like that. And then of course, you know, just a few little logs laying around, dead wood, things like that. This is my lumberjack. And so you've seen the lumber yard. I'm sure that I'm going to be doing more with it. Did add some trees in here for effect. So now if you go down here, you cross this little covered bridge here, this is the archery station. So this, not a station, but a archery range. So if you take a look down range, you see, of course, the, you know, different items that you can shoot at, lanes that you step in for your range, you know. From the outside coming in. So if you come up here, it gives you an opportunity to also use for defense if needed be. So that's the archery training grounds, should I say. So now that we have that taken care of, I'm going to go on down here. Looks like my animals are running wild. I need to replace them and put them somewhere in a wooded area. So, like I said, there's a few things that I need to still do. Alright, now that we've discussed the archery and all that, now we go back over to here and cross the next bridge to get back to where we needed to go to show you the last piece of this map. Or, well, I mean, I'm eventually going to build a library and a few other things, so it's a work in progress. We have a yard over here for the executioner. The executioner always lives far enough away from the kingdom because it wasn't considered to be a nobleman's type of trade at the time. So, as a matter of fact, it was thought that if you touched a dead body, you were considered unclean. So, um, that's the reason that the most villages had their executioner to live far enough away from, because they were very much in solitude. This is not a build of mine. This is a build that belongs to a friend of mine who came in and said, "Hey, I'll come in and help you a little bit." I said, "Okay." So we built a cemetery and an executioner's house, and he had most of his hands in on this. So this is his executioner's house, and you know, it's very, very nice. I like it. It has a back patio, seating area. He also drew up his own bathhouse here, so I'll throw that at you. There's some tubs here, a sink, a couple toilets. After you exit there, if you go out his other door, you end up in the cemetery. And while this is a work area for the cemetery here, so meaning these tombstones that are lined up like this, they're meant to look like a working area, right? And in here is also a working area. That's where all the tools are stored. So, simple enough, right? And then if you come on up through the cemetery here and you go just past this area, if you come on down a little bit, first thing to the left, the doors, this is a tomb area. It's under a work in progress as well. This is supposed to look like a tomb area, just for, you know, the more richer society of people that wanted to be buried in tombs instead of in the ground. And then if you walk past that, you're gonna continue to see the remainder of the cemetery. And there we go. So this is one of the builds that I was working on. And like I said, I've had a little bit of help. Flooding this river has been very educational. Not only has it been educational, it's also been very difficult to determine how I want to build it into the map. This is dammed off right now because I haven't finished it yet. It's going to come on out. It's going to go on over through there. I didn't make it very deep. Probably 6 to 8 blocks deep. Something like that. Some areas are a little deeper than others. So, meant to turn this into a kind of a lake setting, you know, coming off of the river. But like I said, it's not very easy to flood a whole area. So I mean, you got to go under bridges, under landscapes, um, you know. And then you have to wind it around other areas. Now this is where I intend to put the library. I'm not sure what type of. I mean, I might even add a bridge here and have it to join with the castle, I believe, and then have it more of like a castle setting itself. So I'll probably fill that area in there. I'm not sure if I will or not. I might even make that kind of a bonus thing and make it have a way for you to take a boat out, you know, something like that. I believe the shape of the land is the way that I'm going to go with the library. I believe I'm going to have a tower here, and then the main part of the library here, and then another tower maybe like right in here, and then have it to join to the castle. Anyway, if you end up with any ideas or and especially if you know what you're able to use for building purposes in this game, because like I said, it's limited. It's everything's squared first of all. Some things I wish was here are not. Uh, because it's very elaborate about the different things that it offers for you to be able to use. But it's limited in some construction too. So I mean, just putting all that together for you, that and each category has its own different bunch of things. You can even bring in some of the. There's a few missing here. There's some that are not in here, but you bring in some of the characters in here and some of the bad guys. You're limited to spawns though with the bad guys for some reason, and you're definitely limited to only one per like said. Like I can't have two Eric the woodworkers. I can't have two of them. So that I will tell you. And then of course there's tools. Now there's something else I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to start figuring out how to display tools on signs or something like that. And if you have any ideas, let me know. To where I drop it into the sign and it either looks like it's on a display case for sale or something like that. But anyway, there's that, right? And then this is some of the traps and triggers and a lot of the lighting that's here. Different, like that's the secret door for the painting, and there's a secret door for the bookshelf there. So I mean, there's a lot of things in here. These I'm not even sure what these even do. I guess this is part of the I don't know. I'll have to look at it and find out. These are traps. These are keys. They play musical notes when you touch them. Um, so anyway, that's my kingdom. Um, like I said, I don't mind criticism. That's fine. Like I said, and I'm also not the best builder in the world. Um, Nothing in here is 100% uniform. One building doesn't always look like the other. I started out, I guess, with these two kind of looking alike, but the farmhouse and then when I got to the pub, it totally looks different with the roof, and so does the lumberjack's house. So, there you are. That's 22 minutes of just basic showing off what it took me a few weeks to do. Um, you know, to get things together. Um, I have some friends later on I'll introduce in some of my other videos whenever we start to build again, especially the ones that have helped me with this already. This guy here, he's a really good builder. He currently has a bunch of friends that he plays online with, and I call him Red. I'll give his name out if he ever says it's okay, but anyway, he came in here, built this for me, and he was helping me realign my castle. My castle originally didn't line up right with the doors, so we needed to make some changes to it, and then we added the bell tower and things like that. So things like that he's helped me do. Because I think, if I'm not, you see how that door doesn't line up with this walkway in the center of the castle? I don't like that. We'll eventually fix that same thing with this one here. So we'll when building, if I were you, before I did anything with lining doors up, if you're kind of like me and you want everything to kind of look neat, I would measure it out first. Because let's say you're going to put a door down. Let's do it that way. Let's say you're going to put a door down. What you want to do is put the door down first if you can, and then measure it out. So you want to put the frame, you have to put the frame, and then you have to put the door down, and then you have to measure the blocks on either side of it to make sure that it's centered before you get too far into the building. So things like that I did not take into consideration. I started with the castle when I first started building this place. This castle is a very basic build. I started with the towers, and then I worked from the towers and worked into the walls, and then I started building the inner parts of the walls, and went from there. The touch with the blazers. Now these blocks here, I wasn't sure if that's what I really wanted to do. The ones that light up here, I wasn't sure if that's what I really wanted to do, or if I wanted to just originally go with torches. But they do light up the place pretty nice. And being the fact that the king is obviously a mage, I don't see where it wouldn't fit in, I don't guess. Um, but that's neither here nor there. I believe I've shown you everything that I need to show you. Got the covered bridges, sawmill. Yeah, I think we've taken care of everything. Questions, comments, desires. If if you just take a look at the map, and if there's something you want to come in here and help me build, fit with the theme, that would be nice. I'd be more than glad to accept help. Um, I don't know what to do with this poor little lonely island out here. But anyway, give me a shout. This is Dark Lord. I'm signing off, and good gaming.